Hi, I'm Drew.
And I'm Sam.
And welcome to Drewling Samantics.
Oh, come on, mate. What's that about?
Mate, what a week. What a few days. I mean, you know that I've had a bit of a one. It's
Yeah, I'm sitting here pretending I don't know what's going down, but I actually do.
Yeah. So, ladies and gents, followers, friends, subscribers, watchers, listeners, whatever.
Sympathizers.
Yeah, I've had a bit of a crazy few days / week or so. So it's been busy anyway. As everyone knows, I've been on set for The House That Zombies Built, which is now finished and was an incredible experience. I say it's finished. We've got a few pickup days to do various little bits, but the main bulk of the filming is complete. And it was brilliant, and I must send a massive thanks to all the guys who were in it, all the actors, the crew, the extras, the production team, everyone involved has just been absolutely incredible. But I have to say that it didn't finish quite in such a on such a positive note as I wanted it to, and that is nothing to do with the film itself. So, Drew, as you well know, but for people out there that don't, I was on my way to the penultimate day of filming, and I had a little incident in my car. Now, fortunately, nobody was hurt. There was no accident per se, but my car, which has served me incredibly well over the last few years, and my partner who owned it before me, it did her brilliantly for many years as well, suddenly decided that it had enough and stopped. Basically, the engine just went, no, I've had enough. I happened to be on the motorway at the time in the fast lane. So it was a little bit scary, shall we say. But either way, managed to safely get to the hard shoulder. Thank goodness. It could have been a lot worse. And the story from there is just a crazy one because I then had to get the car back home. I then had to get it from there to a garage because it literally wouldn't start up again. I had to wait for the garage to check it over. And then, long story short, the car very sadly is dead. So over the past few days / a week, I've had to use alternate modes of transport. Fortunately, I've got an incredibly supportive partner and family who have sort of donated cars here and there and given lifts and done whatever. But yeah, getting to filming's been a bit of a pain because it's been quite long journeys. And just the whole trying to sort another car while so much work is going on. I've not really stopped, and not all for the reasons that I've wanted to. So it's been mental. So I have to say, and I hope you've got one ready too as well, Drew. But cheers to you, mate. Okay. This beer I've needed it so much.
Yep, I have to say, I mean, you've deserved. I mean, cheers, well done on wrapping the film or nearly wrapping the film. And my commiserations on the car front, mate. I'm sorry. I have to say, hang on, just there we go. Just to say, if it makes you feel slightly better, I've had a little bit of car issues this week myself. I've had to have 4 new tires, a new exhaust, and some new brakes on the front. So,
gosh,
I'm a little bit lighter wallet-wise myself. But I mean, it's got to be done, hasn't it? I mean, it's one of those things that you can't. You know, I know you've had busy days, and you've got. I know you got a wedding coming up in a few days' time, and so it's you needed the vehicle. Bless your heart. I know I've been there, mate. It's. Yeah. I once broke down doing a job, and I borrowed the landlady's car at the time, and she said you might get a few strange looks because it was an old Moggy Minor soft top, but made out to be a noddy car. So I drove around for 2 days until my car was fixed in a noddy car. Yeah, that's
amazing. But yeah, so my week, mate, has been, as you know, full of cars for all sorts of various reasons. and I've been lucky. I've still been working. I've still been able to achieve a lot, and it's been incredible. But go on. What about yourself? Because although you've had car issues, they haven't halted you being crazy busy.
No, I have been very busy. I've had a Faulty Towers gig in the countryside. We did a Faulty Towers picnic, which beautiful part of the country. We went down to Lavenham and we did an open air. Thank heavens the weather was good, but we did an open air Faulty Towers.
Nice.
Verona, myself, and our partner Ed. And then I've kicked off rehearsals in earnest for Invisible Me, which is opening in a couple of weeks in Wimbledon.
Amazing.
I've been helping on occasions, but just sort of basically lending moral support to Verona while she prepares her show for Edinburgh next week.
Yeah.
And I'm preparing for a little bit of filming this weekend. So yeah, I've been herring around like a mad thing. I've also been, we talk about Jungle Monkeys. I've also been rehearsing in a new Jungle Guide.
Oh,
so she did her first show the other weekend and had a lovely time. But I'm going to take you to your happy place now, Sam, because
can we do that live on air? Are we allowed to do that? We've got the
we can.
warning up, but
yeah, nobody if they're watching us on YouTube is going to be terribly shocked. But I mean, I know that you love your technology and you love your toys and that. And whilst I'm slightly scared and shaky and a bit grey-haired about it, I do use stuff. I've had to use stuff, but I was asked a very interesting question the other day, and it was the young lady that I was rehearsing with, and various other people have asked me along the time as we've been stuck at home with the unwelcome guest, and we mentioned it a little while ago. Buying equipment and stuff to use at home in remote studios. Somebody asked me what microphone use. It's a common question. So I said which one I thought the guy who should be sitting here right now with a great big technical grin on his face is Sam. So I'm going to whiz it over to you, Sam. I mean, in your studio, what do you, and you do regular almost daily voice work when you're not shooting. So what do you use? What are you using? I'll tell you what I've got in a minute. But what are you using?
It's a really interesting question you ask, because I think it depends entirely on what the purpose is. I mean, so obviously we're podcasting at the moment. For this, I've got a nice condenser mic made by it's called in fact I could have a look. It's a Studio Series, and I'm trying to remember who makes it. It's I want to say. Do you know what? I can't even see. It's blanked out in front of me. I can't even see what the company's called. But it's the reason I say it's interesting, and I'll find you the name for it in a minute, just in case people did want to do it. But I use a USB microphone, and having spoken to various people, it genuinely does depend what purpose you're going to use it for. So being a USB microphone, that means it is directly attached to your laptop or your Mac. For me, it's a Mac. I know for you, you're using Windows.
Yeah.
But that means it's entirely reliant not only on its own abilities, but also the limitations of the sound device that's built into your computer. Now, Apple tend to be quite good. Their sound is quite high quality. I've never had an issue doing voiceover work either plugged into my Mac, which is how we podcast or how I podcast anyway, but also when I do a lot of my voiceover work or audio books, I've also got a Windows laptop and I record direct into there. Now, a lot of people, and I think you're included in this, wouldn't necessarily go direct with USB. And a lot of people recommend, and I'd probably support that. It's just I'm not doing that at the moment, but using an audio interface. So you can have a USB audio interface, which is basically an external sound card, but better quality than a built-in one, which has proper audio audio inputs, i.e. For those that aren't au fait with audio, you've got a jack input, which is your standard, what your headphones have on them if they're still wired. You get various sizes of jack. You also get an XLR, which is what most microphones use, which is a 3-pin sort of plug. And there are various other, you can have digital audio at various other different levels, but having an external interface is often highly recommended because the audio quality can be a lot better because everything is done by that device on its own rather than having to be processed by the computer. I don't, and I've not struggled. I've been lucky in that respect. That I've been able to get away with it that way. I guess just I've been lucky that the quality of my microphone is that good, and the audio interface built into my Mac in particular copes quite well with it. But I mean, I know that you use an interface, so feel free.
Well,
what's your side of things?
Well, yeah, I mean, at the moment, I've got a little podcast mic, a little Pro Sound podcast mic, which is a USB. It's going straight into my Windows, my laptop. But yeah, I've got a good quality, very nice quality condenser mic. I know there are one or two, and as we'll say, we'll qualify this. Other recording devices, microphones, etc., are available.
Oh yes, indeed. Yeah, other brands are available. Other technical.
Yeah. We're mentioning some names here, but obviously it's stuff that we use personally. We're not endorsing anything, and there are hundreds of microphones out there, and it is personal choice. And what's one man's meat is another man's poison.
Of course,
so,
yes.
But I use a Studio Electronics, an SX1. Which is a good standard workhorse microphone. It is very, very similar to a Rhodes. I think it's an NT1. They are both.
So NT1 is probably, if you asked the majority of people, that's what they've either been recommended or ended up buying as an entry level but highly capable microphone for voiceover, for audio recording. Yeah.
It's kind of, I mean, it is kind of an audio, an industry standard.
Yeah.
It's like saying, you know, if you're going to use a microphone on stage, it'll be, you know, Sennheiser SM58, something like that. There, you know, it's a good workhorse. And I was just checking. I was saying, the X1S, the Studio Electronics.
I've done the same, mate. So for anyone interested, I use an editor keys or editor's keys. I think it's called Studio Series SL300.
Yeah.
I've actually got two of them because I've got two separate studios I sort of work in. And I use it for everything. I'm using it right now for podcasting. I use it for voiceover work. Not only the microphone on its own, but with sort of sound deadening around, and we can sort of touch on that as well, actually, because people might be interested. But as you say, if you're on stage, famously the Shure SM58, which is probably the standard, as you mentioned, the standard vocal microphone. I think they used to demonstrate it by bashing a nail in with it. That was their selling point, because it was an incredible microphone, dynamic microphone, which is much more hard wearing, different sort of designed for different kind of audio pickup. Won't bore anyone with technical details. I did a degree in audio along those lines a long time ago, and I remember certain bits. But
welcome to Sam Dunning's happy place.
Oh God, yeah, we could be here for hours. But basically for vocal work like what we're doing, a condenser microphone is much more suitable because it's designed for speech and for vocals like that. Yeah. If you were in a hardcore metal band or whatever, then the Shure SM58 would be absolutely perfect. There are many, many others available, as we've said, or as you said, Sennheiser make an incredible range of microphones as well, and sound systems. And I mean, they've got some amazing headphones as well. There are so many brands, though. So many brands. AKG are out there who do some incredible stuff as well. Although I think they've been bought out. I could be wrong in saying that.
They have.
Rode, as you mentioned. Yeah. But there were just so many. As I say, I use an editor keys mic, or two of them. But they're enhanced by the sound deadening around them. So I know you've built sort of like a little mini booth, haven't you?
I built myself a little TARDIS because I've got a railway cutting at the bottom of the garden, and I get a little bit of sound from that, and the quality of the microphone was such that it was picking up a little bit of sound. I've got a reflector screen round as well, so that stops any pinging around the room. But I wanted to deaden the room even more, so I built out. I got that deaden. There are plans on YouTube to build these things, and I looked it up. As the guy was using tubing, UPVC pipes.
Oh yeah,
that you'd whack in your bathroom or whatever. So I bought that, and I sat there and worked out, and I bought the pipes and the joints. There's no cutting or anything, because I said I want to order them, cut everything I think it's 18 lengths, a meter long, all the pipes and the corners and the join that all together. And then just bought some sound deadening blankets. You can buy audio quality ones. I bought 5 or 6 thick packing blankets. And if you put 2 of those, it's very sweaty, but you hang them round. This thing is like it's like an old-fashioned phone booth, surrounded all in black, but it's lovely. It gives a really dead quality. So it gives and then with a good mic in there, you've not no ringing. You've got a very good solid sound, which then you can put into to whatever you use to edit with, and then you're away. And I built that. Lovely thing is it takes you can take it all apart, stick it in a bag, stick the blanket in a bag, and you're not stuck with it in the corner.
And do you know what I think? I think these days, particularly what post lockdowns and obviously it's still around, but the unwelcome guests and stuff. I think portability is such a huge thing. So as you know, I travel around between sort of different houses quite a lot, and that means that I do need to be able to take things on the road. So I've got a portable screen similar to yours in a way that is sound deadening material, acoustic tiling, basically, that folds around my microphone, which keeps it sort of quiet. In my flat, in my mini studio in my flat, I've got a microphone which is on sort of like a flexi, I don't know what you have, a gooseneck almost arm.
I've got the umbilical arms that you could.
Yes, indeed.
There,
but it's got its own. It's almost got a hat on. It looks a bit like Darth Vader upside down. But it's got that around it, which is complete acoustic deadening. But on the front, it's got what we call a pop shield. So to those who don't know, that's basically it catches plosives, and plosives are your P's and S's and T's, and anything where you spit when you speak. Not that you should spit, but you know what I mean. A pop shield is there to catch those and to stop the microphone having sort of like big loud sounds hitting it, popping. Or physical,
literally popping, doesn't it?
Yeah, pops, and other like explosive sounds. So my Darth Vader microphone has got one of those built into it, but you can pop that out if you want a clearer set, or if you're picking up ambient sound or whatever. But so I've got various different portable options. But I mean, these are all things that I've picked up a long time, and sort of I've built these things around. And you're saying about building your booth. I think you know this, but when I was first at my flat, recording for, I can't remember if it was my first audiobook or if it was a voiceover gig, but either way, in my spare room in my flat, I've got an ottoman bed. So obviously the sort of the mattress lifts up on a frame. And I needed a quiet spot, and I live near a train line, so it's not often particularly quiet. So rather than trying to sound deaden my entire spare room, what I did was I opened the ottoman bed. You know where this is going. So and this is
hysterical.
So I appreciate a lot of what Drew and I have been saying today. People out there listening or watching has been quite aimed at people in the industry who might want tips or might want to find out what we're doing. But here are the other side of things. So you can picture when you're sat at home listening to us chatting away, or you're watching an advert and you might recognize one of our voices, or even if it's not us, think of the poor voiceover artists who, unless they've had access to a studio for that particular gig, if they've done it remotely, think of us out there. And here's an example for you. When I first started, I'd get under my ottoman bed with it open. I'd hang the duvet over the edge so it covered all like any gaps. I'd make sure the doors were all shut, and I'd put blankets around the walls to stop reflective surfaces. And I'd have my mic and my laptop underneath this ottoman bed with me, recording my voice. It sounded great, but it's like I'd literally been caught in a rainstorm. I was that sweaty because it was so hot in there. Yeah. So we do, and it's a phrase that is used fairly often, but this is an absolute example of it. We do suffer for our art. there are times where we have to go above and beyond to try and get it sounding just right for everyone out there. So there's an image for you, me under an ottoman.
I shall carry that with me. So we've said microphones. I'm sort of going from mic now. So we've done the microphones and any deadening. I mean, there are some great acoustic blankets you can buy. Tiles if you've got a room, if you've got space, you can do it. If you really want to go overboard.
Oh, I mean, and don't get us wrong. Like, if you've got no budget, then if there's no limit to your budget, then you can do anything. I mean,
you're mad.
You can buy. There are portable vocal booths you can buy. That fold down, but I mean, you're talking 4 figures plus for a decent one. But so we're
it's interesting, isn't it? Because you can create a good space with duvets, with blankets, with a bed. So you create a space. You've got your microphone. You found what works for you, what sounds good for you. You shove it in your Mac or your Windows or whatever, and then. I mean, I use, and there is one, and it's pretty much because it's free. I use a thing called Audacity to edit with, and to take the raw voice and edit and cut things and moving. I think you use the same, don't you?
Yeah. So again, we're talking on the editing side of things now. So post creating all your vocals or your chat or your advert or whatever you're doing, or particularly with the podcast as well. When I edit this. So obviously you've got to put all those sounds somewhere. So both Drew and I on Windows-based platform use Audacity, which is a program that allows you to do vocal editing and then put all your sounds together and create something. When I'm working on my Mac, I use Logic for audio, which is Apple's sort of bespoke audio program. And when I edit, particularly if you're watching this on YouTube, it will have been edited in Final Cut Pro, which is Apple's, again, bespoke video editing tool. But there are many, many others available. I know lots of people out there use other things. It's entirely personal preference. I mean, Pro Tools is quite heavily used in the audio industry, particularly for music side of things. There's an incredible tool called Pyramix, which I used to use when I was at uni. I'm not sure if it's still going now, but that was great for audio and video editing. There are so many different options out there. But I think can certainly recommend Audacity because, as you say, it's a free tool and it does a lot of the stuff you need it to. But it's personal preference, and again, it's budget related and what you're trying to do. There are great tools out there if you are a musician trying to record a drum kit that would be useless, or not useless, but nowhere near as effective as others if you're trying to do an audiobook. So, well, as I said, it's to experiment with and use.
It's horses for course, isn't it? It's like you say, it's whatever you want. I mean, and it's worth saying there are really good, if you're coming in, as we had to do, during as I had to do when, during the unwelcome guests visit, if you're coming in, A, not knowing an awful lot, and B, not having a lot of a large budget to spend, there's quite a lot of stuff out there that it is free. And yes, obviously, if you're going to take things further and you want a better finish, a better quality, you're probably going to end up having to pay for a program or whatever. But Audacity has worked for me thus far. I would like, I probably will, up the quality at some point, not knocking the quality, but it just takes a little research, doesn't it? There are things as well, just because, just to mention before we move on, there are like things like green screens for self tapes and backdrops and. There are as many green screens and backdrops as there are people doing self-tapes, I think first off, we should say anybody doing self-tape, if you've got a good smartphone, you've got really all you need to do your self-tape, haven't you?
I mean, we are in an age now where the average smartphone camera is as good as an expensive digital standalone camera from, let's say, 3 or 4 years ago. Right now I'm not using a webcam, I'm using my phone for this because it records in 4K, which is better than we need. And absolutely, the audio quality on a phone is very, very good these days. Self-tapes, I do all my self-tapes with my phone. As you were mentioning, I use a green screen if I can. And we're on Zoom now recording this. Zoom works brilliantly with a green screen. You can drop any background in you like. Most editing programs, if you filmed in front of a green screen, and portable green screen does not cost very much. So for people looking to do self-tapes or wanting to film stuff at home, whether it's YouTube or just TikTok or any kind of social media, or just for your own vlogging purposes or whatever, it's quite a good good little thing to purchase. They're not hugely expensive, and it does mean that the sky's the limit with your location, so to speak, because you can put whatever you like behind you. And I mean, your lovely wife last week when we first had her on,
yes,
she disappeared on her laptop and appeared on yours. She had an amazing background with balloons and God knows what else going on.
Yeah,
all done through Zoom. Very, very simple and
very clever.
And that said, actually, you don't even need a green screen with Zoom. I mean, it helps, but it is quite a clever tool. And I mean, we say Zoom, there are others out there. I think Microsoft Teams does a similar thing. I think Skype's quite clever, and I think Facebook has its own. There are so many different.
I mean, but I mean, I think the just to sort of, I think there is so much information out there. And that you can take your time, and you don't have to spend an awful lot of money. I mean, we could talk for hours on and I know I'm getting quite into my tech now and everything, and I
could have fooled me, mate. But
I know, yes, I know, but no, I do. I mean, I don't know what they all do, but I love plugging them in and everything, and it does that.
If you remember the plug-in.
I have to say, I've been buying stuff on, and I am going to push it. I've been buying second-hand stuff to use at home, good cameras, and if you're careful, there is very good quality stuff out there, and there are a lot of microphones being sold second-hand now. Now we're over the hump of the unwelcome guest, so you can get some good quality, barely used second-hand stuff.
Yeah.
But Sam, I'm gonna stop you and now take you out of your happy place.
Oh, but because we haven't talked about lights. We haven't talked about different inputs. We haven't talked about like self-tape kits you can buy and selfie sticks. Either way, there's so much stuff out there, and there's so much research and things like that people just look it up. But before you stop me from being in my element, we are more than happy if people want to ask questions. We can recommend what we've used. We're not experts in the tech field. One of us is slightly more expert than the other, granted, but that doesn't matter. But we've got to this stage in our careers and have had to endure lockdowns like everyone else, and have managed to keep going and produce what we consider is fairly high quality stuff, particularly for self-tapes and whatever else. So if people do want advice that are in the industry, please feel free to get in contact. Alternatively, if you're starting out and want some recommendations on cheap things to get started, ask us, but also just look online. There's so many reviews and advice pages out there. It's really easy to get started. So
it is, and there are also some great websites if you want to learn about self-taping and what is industry acceptable now, because that can be a bit of a minefield. But there are some really good. I mean, Spotlight, Equity, they'll guide you to those good sites. Yeah. But I'm gonna take you out there because there is one very important thing we need to do. You spoke about Verona.
We did.
And the musical balloon band. Yeah. We have a competition, Sam.
We do. The lovely your lovely lady wife joined us last week. And she is giving away amazing prizes. And number one, coaching session with her it's over Zoom, I think.
Via Zoom, yeah.
Zoom, yes.
Yeah.
So if you want to improve your vocals and want advice or wanted a session with an incredible vocal coach, very, very talented lady. God knows what she's doing with you. She that was her prize. And not only that, but for the little one, she also had a musical balloon band like sort of goodie bag with prizes to give away as well.
Yeah, so there are I believe the balloons and pumps and kazoos and everything else in there. So yeah.
And we did have quite a few entrants, I believe, mate.
Well, we did. Now, of course, because as is my wont, I have silver surfed, and I've got a random name picker, and of
Lovely.
Course. Because of my in honor of my wonderful, lovely, gorgeously talented wife, it is in the nature of a balloon.
Oh, very nice.
Okay,
can we have a look? Can you get it up and running?
Okay, here we go. There you go. Now you will see. There we are. There is a balloon.
There is a balloon. Absolutely.
And into that balloon, we are going to put our list of competition entrants. So there we are. Can you see that? There are our.
Yeah, for There's a list of names there. Quite a few entrants this time around.
If you join us on YouTube, you can see that they are there.
Yeah.
Now this is very simple. All I've got to do, Sam, is take a pin, burst a balloon, and we'll have a name. So are you ready for this?
Okay. Well, if it's that simple, get on with it, mate. Let's see.
So there we go. We have one balloon, one pin, and if I just do that, there is our winner, the lovely Natalie Hughes. You are our winner.
Hughes. Congratulations, Natalie Hughes. You are the winner of the musical balloon band goodie bag for your little one or for yourself, if you want. I mean, no discrepancies. That's not the word. What am I looking for? No. If you want it, you can have it. I can't remember the word. Drew, you could have rescued me there. You left me floundering. Thanks.
I left you hanging, mate. No, because I couldn't think of the word there. No, we're not discriminating. No discrimination.
That's the one discrimination. Thank you. No discriminating. It doesn't matter if you're 1 year old or 99 years old. If you want the balloon band thing, then Natalie, you are more than welcome to it.
We have no idea. We have no idea, Natalie, whether you have a little one or a big one. But whatever you have.
God, Drew. Oh man, right. This has descended into absolute chaos already. Back in the room.
Okay, sorry,
Natalie,
mate.
Congratulations, you are our winner.
Congratulations.
And mainly and most importantly, the winner of that incredible vocal session with the wonderful Miss Verona Chard, Drew's better, taller, more talented half. Which is actually me as well, but not in the same respect. So anyway.
He's also technically more savvy than me as well. Sorry, Sam.
Aren't we all? Anyway, so yes, congratulations, Natalie. Our email address should be scrolling across the screen right now. If it's not, then I've done something wrong in the edit, but it should be there. Just ping us an email with your details and we'll get all that organised for you. Congratulations. If you haven't won, then don't be disheartened. There will be many, many more competitions coming up. So yes. Get excited for those. But yeah, so an interesting show today, Drew. I mean, potentially a bit more for those in the industry or wanting to start out in the industry, but I think we've given a few insights and perhaps shown to some people out there who are not involved in the industry just what sort of things we have to think about and the kind of
what you have to go through
behind the scenes, maybe.
So I mean, there's an extra reason now to check under the bed, isn't there? Because you're going to have an actor there with a microphone, deadening, recording. So
who knows? But yeah, so there's your sort of glimpse into the how things are made and the fact that when you hear someone's voice, be it on a podcast, be it on radio, in a TV advert, in an audiobook, whatever it is, don't just assume that they're very lucky and they've been able to go into a nice big air-conditioned studio with really expensive equipment and some clever techie sat behind a desk making sure everything sounds right. Sometimes it's us sat at home in front of a camera with a ring light and a microphone, hoping to God that we get the self-tape right and get the job in the long run.
That's the one.
So,
that's the one.
But there we go. So go on then, Drew. What have you got coming up, mate?
Well, as I say, I'm shooting the Haunting of the Lady Jane this weekend, which I'm looking forward to. Over the next couple of days. Continue to rehearse Invisible Me for we opened that at the beginning of September, and I will be advertising that heavily when we start to open that.
So you should, yeah.
But so that's I'm rehearsing, and then later over the next few days, I shall be whizzing up to Edinburgh to join Verona on her Cecily's belly laugh picnic.
Yes. So anyone up in Edinburgh, as we said, please do check it out. The musical balloon band are up there with their. Is Cecily a mascot or sort of the star of the show?
Cecily is the balloon is our balloon donkey. She's a very beautiful balloon donkey. Yeah. So and we're at I think it's Laughing Horse Comedy Venue. It's part of the free festival, and we're selling tickets. You do have to book because of COVID restrictions, etc., etc. But we although it's part of the free festival, it's pay what you can. There are a lot of tickets on sale, but we are selling. Well, Verona's selling very, very well. So there you go.
Yeah, I love the we. As if it's anything to do with you other than the fact that you are pushing things around, lifting things, moving things, and doing all that rubbish.
Blowing up balloons. Yeah, yes. That's what I'm doing. Blowing up balloons. Yeah.
Basically, you're full of hot air and it's useful.
So, and what have you got coming up, mate? After that slur, I'll let that go.
Yeah, it's all right. No one noticed. I've got final stages post-production on the audiobook.
Excellent.
Which I will also be massively promoting once it's out and available to buy. If you're out there and want to listen to a cool sort of sci-fi post-apocalyptic audiobook, then Volume 1 is still very much available to buy and download, or to purchase the paperback book. In fact, I think all the paperback books are available. Just go onto Amazon, either on Audible or on just normal Amazon, and search for The Wasteland Road Nights, and you'll see my lovely face on the covers, and you'll hear my dulcet tones if you listen to the audiobook. So yeah, just finishing that off. That's the biggest kind of focus for me in the upcoming days and week. So.
And can you? This was recorded in a studio, in your home studio. You weren't under a bed in a cupboard or a wardrobe.
I can confirm that if you do go for Volume 1, I think it's called Liberation, the first, if I remember rightly. And Andrew, if you're out there listening, the writer Andrew Dobell, please forgive me if it's not called Liberation, but I'm pretty sure Episode 1 or the first volume is called Liberation. It was not recorded under an Ottoman bed using a duvet. It was recorded in my very nice studio with very nice equipment all set up and very comfortable. So
excellent.
Yeah, very lucky in that respect. But no, so that's my main thing. But other than that, mate, I'm looking forward, because we've got another special guest coming up. We are just flooded this season with incredible people, and our next guest is someone very close to your hearts. Not quite as close as your wife was last week, granted, but somebody who's very special, very, very talented. And should have a lot of cool stuff to talk about.
I think it's gonna be goody. It's definitely goody. Definitely, yeah.
All of you out there in podcast land, make sure you do join us next week. Congratulations, Natalie, on winning. Everyone else, get involved, because we're gonna have more competitions coming up. But for now, raise a beer. Cheers, Drew.
Raise a beer.
I'll see you next week, mate. Take it easy.
I'll see you next week, Sam. Take care,
Bye,
everyone.
At home. See you soon. Cheers.
See you soon.
Thanks again for tuning in. We hope you've enjoyed watching this episode of Drewling Samantics.
If you have, then please consider subscribing to our channel and you'll get notified every time a new video is released. Don't forget, we're also available as audio only. Just search Drewling Samantics in any good podcast app.
Please support us on other social media too. We're on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, and all our links and handles are on screen now.
We love welcoming new followers and subscribers, so please share with your family and friends, and we'll be eternally grateful. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.